This is where saltwater taffy was invented, where every square on the Monopoly board was once a real street with real stories. Atlantic City wasn't just famous, it was legendary. The boardwalk gleamed, the hotels dazzled, and for generations of Americans, this was the summer escape. But now, all that's left are hollow towers, fading neon, and echoes of a dream that slipped through the cracks. So how did the city that gave us America's favorite game become a place people try to forget? The answer lies beneath crumbling facades, buried tracks, and a history we were never meant to erase. Let's uncover what really happened to Atlantic City and why it matters more than ever today. And if stories like this resonate with you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next forgotten chapter of American history. Once upon a time, Atlantic City wasn't fading, it was flourishing. Long before the rust and the silence, this stretch of the Jersey Shore was a beacon for escape, celebration, and summer magic. In the late 1800s, when America was industrializing fast and cities were swelling with smoke and people, this little seaside town became something rare, a refuge. Just a straight shot by train from Philadelphia, Atlantic City opened its arms to the urban masses, desperate for a breath of ocean air. And when the trains arrived, oh, they arrived by the thousands. By the 1870s, over 500,000 visitors came each year. They stepped off the rail cars into a world of grand hotels, glimmering just steps from the sand. The famous Boardwalk was born not out of beauty, but out of necessity, built to keep sand from blowing into the luxury lobbies. Ironically, it would become the most iconic walkway in America. As decades passed, Atlantic City didn't just grow, it dazzled. Towering resorts, pristine beaches, the Miss America pageant, nightclubs where jazz echoed past midnight, street lamps glowing over avenues named Pacific and Atlantic. The town became the embodiment of Americana, red, white, and blue woven into every wooden shingle and neon sign. For many families, it wasn't just a destination, it was a tradition. And back then, Atlantic City wasn't trying to be something else. It wasn't mimicking Vegas. It was something pure, something uniquely American. But like all golden ages, it wouldn't last forever. By the 1920s, Atlantic City was more than just a beach town. It was a spectacle. Massive hotels lined the boardwalk like royal guardians of summer. Tucked between them were small businesses, theaters, arcades, and neon-lit diners, all humming with life. They called it the nation's playground. And in many ways, they were right. On weekends, it felt like the entire country was gathered on this narrow stretch of coastline. Prohibition didn't slow things down. It only made the city buzz louder. Behind closed doors, speakeasies thrived. Nightclubs flourished under the guise of respectability. And when the sun wasn't out, Atlantic City became the stage for America's biggest pageants and boldest conventions. The Boardwalk Hall opened in 1929, one of the largest arenas in the country at the time. It wasn't just a hall, it was a crown jewel. And for locals, life was just as vibrant. Charming wooden houses lined narrow streets. Shops and corner stores were walkable. Avenues like Atlantic and Pacific weren't just names on a board game. They were the heart of a thriving community. It was here that saltwater taffy was born, and here that Monopoly drew its map of American ambition. So what happened? How did a city that once defined American leisure become a faded echo of its former self? The answer, as always, isn't simple. Theme parks like Disneyland and Great Adventure offered families something newer, shinier. Jet travel became affordable, and suddenly the idea of a beach trip meant flying to California, or even Europe. Cars replaced trains, and with cars came highways and the slow unraveling of Atlantic City's original design. Charming old blocks were bulldozed to make room for parking lots. The town's pulse, walkable, intimate, and full of character, was paved over. And as the middle class grew, so did the suburbs. People who once vacationed in Atlantic City started buying summer homes miles away. And the money, it followed them. No longer was this city a destination. It was a detour, and that, quietly, steadily, changed everything. Faced with shrinking crowds and rising competition, Atlantic City made a desperate move. It tried to reinvent itself. No longer a classic seaside retreat, it reached for something flashier. Casinos. Big ones, shiny ones, modeled after Las Vegas but with ocean views. At first, the idea seemed brilliant. Gambling could revive the economy, bring in new money, make Atlantic City matter again. But in chasing Vegas, the city lost its soul. Elegant wooden hotels were demolished to make way for glass towers with no sense of place. The boardwalk charm was buried beneath cold steel and blinking signs. Atlantic City became a copy of somewhere else, and not a very good one. By the 1980s, there was a spark of revival, but Vegas kept growing faster, louder, bigger, and Atlantic City didn't. Today, most of those casinos stand half empty, surrounded by vacant streets and forgotten glory. What was once a national treasure now feels like a half-finished movie set. Impressive in scale, but hollow at the core. It's not that Atlantic City tried to change. It's that it tried to become something it was never meant to be. Perhaps the real tragedy of Atlantic City isn't that it changed, but that it forgot who it was. While other cities evolved with care, preserving their soul while adapting to new realities, Atlantic City tried to erase its past, hoping something shinier would save it. But history doesn't respond well to shortcuts, and identity can't be rebuilt with glass and neon. What if Atlantic City had stayed the course? What if it had held on to its wooden hotels, walkable streets, and timeless boardwalk charm? In an age where people crave authenticity more than ever, maybe that would have been its greatest asset. There's still something haunting about this city, not because it's broken, but because you can still feel what it used to be. And that ghost of greatness, it lingers. Atlantic City may never return to its golden years, but the story it tells matters because it's not just about one place. It's about every town that's been told to pave over its past in the name of progress. And if you feel that pull to keep searching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a step in our journey to uncover what still hides on this earth. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.